So this is the database we've been working with, and it's the tutor group and tutor teacher section that we're looking at right now. We're going to break this out into a separate table to deal with a couple of things. One of them being, for instance, this inconsistent repeated data I've got here. I've written Mr. Smith 3 times. If I wanted to change that, I'd have to change it in 3 places. Also, I misspelt it one of those times, and Mr. Boateng are inconsistent with the spacing there. So to deal with this, what I'm going to start by doing is making a new table for tutor teachers, and then I will go back to this table and tidy it up to make it match with my new table. So create table, and the first thing we do whenever we create a table is go into design view and name it. TBL tutor groups is a good name. And I was thinking about something else and I clicked the wrong button. Tutor groups. Ever had that experience? Yeah, me too. So TBL tutor groups, and of course I've got my primary key auto number ID at the top, and just because I find it easier to keep track sometimes, I'm going to change it to tutor group ID. And then I'm just going to have here tutor code is going to be like the TSMH whatever, tutor teacher, and also I'm going to have room as well. So all text fields, I feel that's all good. Let's put those 2 tutor groups in here. So first one is going to be TSMH and Mr. Smith, and this is the only place that Mr. Smith will be written, so we're not going to have any inconsistencies. NB12, and the next one MBOA, Mr. Boateng in NB11. So I have 2 fields of 2 records of data, sorry. So number 1, remember that, number 1 TSMH, number 2 MBOA. So let's go back and fix up these students to match that. So I'm going to go into design view. I'm going to get rid of the tutor teacher from here. That's only going to be in the other one. Delete all that data. And I'm going to change the tutor group to be a number because it's going to match up with that primary key, the 1 and the 2. Those are the unique identifying numbers for those tutor groups, and that's what this is going to refer to. We're only going to say tutor group number 1 or tutor group number 2, and then that will link up to the other table. So do I want to save the table? I'm going to lose some data. Yeah, I've lost all my data. All good. So I'm going to go in here now, and I'm going to, because I happen to remember, the first 3 were TSMH, and no, that's not right. This one was Mr. Boateng. This one was TSMH, and this one was Mr. Boateng as well. So everywhere there's a 1, that's TSMH. Everywhere there's a 2, that's Mr. Boateng. So I'm going to close all my tables now, and I'm going to go into the database tools, relationships, and grab these 2 tables into it. Show tables, add table. So I've got TBL students, TBL tutor groups, and the link is the tutor group links up with the tutor group ID. That's where the 1 matches with the 1 and the 2 matches with the 2. So drag that over there. It's a one-to-many relationship, 1 tutor group with many students in it. Tick, tick, tick. Always do the tick, tick, tick. Referential integrity. And we can see the little 1 there and the little many down there. If you don't have those, you've done something wrong. You should have a 1 and an infinity little sign. One-to-many relationship. Save that. Close and save. Yep. And now we're kind of done in terms of the structure. We've set up the students table linking to the tutor groups table, but let's just do those things that make it easy to see what's going on. So I'm going to make a query first, and I'm going to throw in both those tables, students and tutor groups, and you can see the link comes across anyway. So I can say give me the given name of the student, the family name, the year level, and also I want to know their tutor code, their tutor teacher, and their room, and that will all come through nice and neatly on one page. So that looks like the table I had originally, but we now know that this Mr. Smith here is not 3. It's not repeated data. It's that same one record. 3 times. I'll show you what I mean. So if I go into TBL students here, and TBL tutor groups, and I change that Mr. Smith to Mr. Brown, click away from that so it takes, and then go back to the query, and you see it's updated all 3 of those. So that's exactly what we'd wanted. So using a query to pull from the 2 linked tables is a very, very common thing to be doing. And the last thing that we sometimes do, this is great when we're making forms, is we do a lookup, because at the moment it's, when you look at the table, it's just showing the number, it's not showing the tutor group. And it'd be nice if it was a drop down and we could choose the tutor group, and that's what we're going to get, and then that's what comes through in forms as well. So in design view, if I go into the tutor group field and go to lookup and change it from text box to combo, so the row source is where is it getting its data from? It's getting it from the tutor groups table. Bound column 1, this is the first column. The ID should always be the first column anyway. You should never need to change that. If you are changing it, it means you've been mucking around with your IDs. Don't do that. Column count, we're going to bring in 2 columns, and that's the tutor group ID and the actual tutor group code. Those are the first and second column. And the column width, I don't know if you remember from class, but we needed to put 0 centimeters for the first column, that's the ID, and then we put, say, 2 centimeters, arbitrary number, for the actual tutor group. So now if I go to datasheet view and save, what we have is we've shown just displaying the actual tutor group here, which is what we want. It's much more readable. But when I click here, I've actually got a drop down where I'll be able to select a tutor group for a particular person. And that's going to be really handy when we do forms. So that covers the basics of just doing a simple single link between 2 tables to get rid of repeated data and get some more consistency into our data.